questions regarding anything I presented this evening, I would like to conduct the second reading as modified from the first reading to allow for the 48 hours and the 14 days, and that is applicable to Section
D.
4D. Yes, sir. 4D.
And after that time, we will be discussing the resolution.
So if the
So
board,
if you'd like to go
I'm sorry, before conducting the reading, if the board would like to vote on the change to see if there's any discussion or any discernment regarding that, we can do that, or we can just read as modified and vote accordingly.
Thank you. Mr. Wong, did you have something?
Read as modified.
Read as modified?
What is in here?
Yeah. Is everyone okay with that, to read as modified?
Mr. Lang?
I agree with Ms. Wong.
I'm fine with the
Okay.
modification.
So this will be the second reading and vote on Resolution Number 06-2011, adopting regulations prohibiting commercial vehicles, trailers, and recreational vehicles, trailers, parking within the public right-of-way in residential neighborhoods, and prohibiting placement of portable storage units and dumpsters within the public right-of-way.
Okay, do we have a motion then to approve resolution number 06-2011?
So move.
I'll second. Discussion.
Yeah, I would encourage, with all due respect to Dennis Bender as well as Patricia Brewer, I would encourage my fellow trustees to join me in not supporting this. My reasons are as follows. It's not a big issue in the township. I've been a trustee now going on 8 years. I've never once gotten a complaint on this, and I've gotten many complaints on many other topics, not once on this. I don't think we need new government regulations to address this issue. We should be very careful if we ever implement new government regulations at any level of government, and in my opinion, this doesn't warrant it. We're going to have our police focus now on enforcing this rather than focus on crime and safety and the things that are really important. And the enforcement of this is not going to be consistent. The police aren't going to be out there watching for these. They're not going to go out there and mark tires to see who's been there 24, 48, 72 hours. What's going to happen is homeowners are going to call and complain about their neighbors. That's the only time that this is probably going to be enforced. And in my opinion, if this is an issue in certain neighborhoods, I believe the Homeowners Association should address this. I think they can handle it much better than the township can, and they can then create their own form of enforcement. If you do choose to do this, I would strongly encourage you to consider what Liberty has done and make Ms. Boyko's modification from 48 hours to 72 hours for RVs.
Mr. Wong?
I hear what you're saying. However, that is 72 hours, 3 days, once a week.
45%.
Right. That's 45% per week. Every 3 days, then 4 days later, they come back again to park on the same spot. I think that's. I don't think that is a very good move. I think 48 hours in 2 weeks time span, that is very reasonable. And that we don't want to have a permanent. Well, I don't want to say that. I think this regulation is necessary, that they are being approached by many residents in our community. Our township is getting bigger by population. There are more cars on the road, and we are not building road fast enough or the road that's wide enough for all these vehicles today. Our infrastructure are very stressed. There are times that emergency vehicles must get through quickly to assist someone, save somebody's life. There are safety issues involved here. The township, we are the largest in the state, and we do not have a regulation so far. This is necessary. Signs, installing signs issues. Signs can only do so much. A lot of times they are require replacement. It is labor intensive and costly in the long run. Then our police, this is a part of our police job to enforce.
Thank you. I have to agree with Mr. Wong. I appreciate the aggravation from RV owners of having more restrictions that they would have to comply with, but the fact is we have people's lives on the line here. Particularly in our older subdivisions, of which we have many, we have roads where it's very difficult to get through if you have a standard car parked on each side of the road. With an RV, it becomes virtually impossible for a full-sized ambulance, much less a fire truck, to get through. This can cost somebody a life. This is something we have to be aware of. I understand Liberty Township's effort to comply with the requests of those people who have RV owners, but I think allowing an unsafe situation 45% of the time is not a good approach to a safe situation. I think allowing people 2 full days, 2 24-hour periods, in order to either load up a vehicle before making a trip or unload a vehicle afterwards or get it ready for storage or getting it out of storage, I think is adequate. I think if you plan your time, get it there and just do it. Get the whole family out and just do it. I think it can be done, and the community is safer because of it. Your neighbors are safer because of it. Worrying about whether or not we should allow recreational vehicles or dumpsters or other large structures in the right-of-way when somebody is having a heart attack is not the time to sit and say, gosh, I wish we'd done something about this. I think no parking signs are not a good solution here because the problem is not a standard-sized automobile or SUV parked on the side of the road. The problem is a vehicle or a structure that could be 20 to 50% wider than the average parking vehicle. It's flat out a safety issue. We're trying to address that issue. As this township became larger, we have more and more RV vehicles, more and more, say, dumpsters as somebody's renovating a house or building a house. And I think we need to get this under control for the safety of the people living on those streets. So I have to agree with Mr. Wong. Nobody likes unnecessary regulations. I don't think this is unnecessary. I think it is necessary for the safety of our communities. With respect to making this a homeowners association, most communities don't have a homeowners association, or what they have is perhaps created on some piece of paper in the recorder's office, but no such structure actually exists. So there is no place for a neighborhood to go if they have a problem with somebody who is not considerate with their large vehicles. I see a need for this resolution, and I think that the average RV owner, if they ask themselves, could admit that, yeah, we could load it up in 2 days, or we could clean it out and get it ready for storage in 2 days. If I absolutely have to, I can spend 2 days and then take it to the place where it's going to be stored anyway for a week and then bring it back the next weekend to finish up getting it ready for a winter shutdown. The fact is we have people's lives at stake, and we have to consider that as being more important, in my perspective as one trustee.
Well, I respectfully disagree with my 2 colleagues. It's not a safety issue. Could it potentially be? Yeah, maybe it could potentially be, but we can't regulate every potential safety issue. In the history of my time as being a trustee on this board, the police chief or the fire chief has never come to me and said they've ever had an issue getting safety vehicular vehicles into a neighborhood because there was a large vehicle parked there. I'm not going to reiterate my points. I can count to 2. I know how to do that, but I think this is unnecessary government regulation. And although I somewhat agree with the concept, I totally disagree with regulation that's not absolutely needed.
We just heard also testimonies from residents on Plantation Drive. With
But
the,
this isn't citizen
Yeah,
comments.
we're just going
I
to
mean, trustee
talk right now
comments.
about the
I understand.
recreation
Yeah.
vehicles.
and that with large vehicles parked on the street, that
Oh, I see.
could cause a lot of blindside there. That could cause serious safety issues
With children rushing
for
out.
children rushing out from behind it. And this is just a matter of time.
Yeah, but if you heard the residents, they said it's super wide. There's plenty of room, and a speeder's going to have a blind side, no matter what side the vehicle is. The problem there isn't the size of the vehicle. The problem is irresponsible motorists. And the fact that their road is so wide, I think it lends more credence to the argument that we shouldn't have this regulation, at least as it relates to that road. I can count to two.
Thank you. Any more discussion on this resolution?
So, ma'am.
Okay, Mrs. Williams, if you'll call the roll then.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
No.
Thank you.